Welcome, friends and future colleagues, to a new and reinvented Law Guest. You have come to the most interesting legal platform for talk shows and more. We give you candid talks with people who you look up to. So, I'm your host for today, Muskan Narang. I'm a second year law student from DY Patil University. We have with us today Advocate Sakshi Sherwal ma'am. Ma'am is an additional standing counsel and a panel advocate for MCD. She is also the founder of Sakshar Law Associate. She is the editor of Locator, and ma'am has completed her LLM from the University of Manchester and her LLB from Amity Law School. I'm so glad to have you on the show, ma'am. Thank you so much for accepting the invite.
So much, Muskan, for inviting me on your talk show. I've seen a couple of interviews and I was like, okay, this is a really interesting concept that you're having. And
Thank
I'm
you so
really
much,
grateful
ma'am.
that you invited me for this platform. Truly
Thank
grateful for this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, usually we try to keep it very candid, and but I usually start with the question that why did you decide to do law?
Okay, so for that, we have to revisit my 10th standard. We should start it from the basic level.
Right.
So when I was in my 10th standard, like all the students, I was exposed to various sort of subjects. And in that, I was majorly attracted towards the humanities subjects, social science and whatnot, history and stuff. So I was like, okay, let's just study it more. I wasn't gravitated towards science or mathematics as such, but these subjects were like, I really want to read up more about it. So even used to go to libraries and explore these subjects. And one thing led to the other. By God's grace, in my 10th board also, I aced in these subjects more. So
Wow.
this sort of started cementing this position in my head that this might be a good option to explore.
Right.
And also my elder sister happens to be a dentist. She was in a medical field, and my parents wanted both me and my sister to be a doctor. But in my heart of the heart, I wasn't sure about this. I was like, I won't be able to keep up with the pressure, because I have seen what medical professionals go through in their formidable years and inception. So in my mind, my thought was, I may not be able to do it, and just to save myself from that situation, I decided to gravitate towards humanities. I got through science, but then I went through the subjects and I couldn't take up. I couldn't handle it in my first week only.
Right.
I just switched it up and I went to humanities. And from there, it was a very cakewalk. I enjoyed every single subject, every class I had. I used to enjoy it a lot.
Right.
And it was a very good experience that I had. And after that, yeah, things started going through in a very good way. Then I aced my law school entrance exams also, be it CLAT, or I got through in Amity Law School, IP University. So I
Right.
had a very good opportunity in that. Selected it, got through in that. And also, it just one thing led to the other, and now I'm really happy with the decisions I've taken in
Right.
my previous years.
So, ma'am, but coming across that, did you have anybody in your family who was a lawyer or somebody who was associated to the subject of law, so that you decided that okay, law is like a field for me?
No, I'm a first generation lawyer. In my decision, nothing of that sort of forced or enforced in that way. So it was more of a self decision in that sense. Whenever we're talking about, if it is difficult in law, so whenever you go to the law school, and this thing I learned in a very hard way. When you go to a law school and you see a lot of these second and third generation students, and then okay, my
Right.
father is a lawyer, and I come from this law fraternity and fam background. So it sort of just puts you back, and you just think, okay, these people already have everything set up for them,
Right.
and I have to work my way through it. And in my case, yes, being a first generation lawyer, both had it pros and cons as well. So yeah, I took it. I had to work really hard in my law school years in order to get at par with my other colleagues. And now they're colleagues. At that point in time, they were my batchmates only.
Right.
But yeah, it's an ongoing process to able to convince that okay, you are also worth as long as even if they have some sort of structure, and even though if I'm lacking in that, so I have to make up for that in my other curriculars as well.
Right.
So yeah, most of that it was a self decision. Nobody guided me through it, and most of the time in my time also we didn't even have that much of internet and stuff. So whatever I used to read is either through my I used to see people who in interviews. I didn't have interviews such as your platform also. So I used to read a lot about these in newspapers and how these lawyers have come across and they work themselves up to reach to
Right.
Supreme Court and High Court.
Mhm.
So in my time, I just focused on me, and I was like, okay, if I have to go through this path, then let's just head on, take it a very good approach in that, work your way through it,
Mhm.
and by God willing, if it works out, then it will be great. If not, then okay, it'll be a lesson learned.
Right. Wow. So, ma'am, with me, it has because I am also going to be a first generation lawyer. So, but
Oh.
but right. So, ma'am, it always actually this has been a topic that I tell with everybody. Everybody who's come on the show, I always ask them कि first generation lawyer को कैसा experience होता है, and then person who is in the like other like who has a second generation lawyer, third generation lawyer. So, how is that experience?
Hmm.
So, it always comes around that pros and cons. They both have pros and cons. But ma'am, with me, I've
Huh.
always been very hardworking when it came to law school because sometimes you always have this thing in your mind that maybe you don't belong there. Like maybe there is something that
Hmm.
that you could have done something else and you would have done better there. And it feels like
Hmm.
it's a little intimidating, but still it actually makes me work harder and makes me strive to do things like this
Exactly.
talk show itself. So.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I was thinking,
Right
how
now, so
would
you are sorry, 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 sorry.
no, no,
No, no,
it's
you
okay,
were
ma'am.
speaking. Sorry, I just cut you off.
No,
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 it's
I'm just
okay.
saying that I think you're in second year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, see, when you're in second year, you have a plethora of options to explore, and you will see people coming across a huge spectrum of you get to expose a lot. So, in my advice, yes, you have to work hard to get it at par with the students who already have a very established background. You
Mm-hmm.
can't take that away from them because it
Right.
is given to them by birth. But
Mm-hmm.
what you can do on your part is to read up on judgments, to put extra effort, a bit of extra effort, take that extra mileage that you say,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, the things will work out in a very good manner. Yes, there is a disparity with the first generation lawyers as well as the established lawyers, but
Mm-hmm.
then end of the day it just matters, it doesn't matter who you are when you're arguing in front of the court, honorable judge.
Right.
And once that works out, it'll be a very good experience and a cakewalk experience for you.
Right. So, ma'am, what would you say is the little effort that you're saying, the little extra effort that you're talking about?
Hmm. See, the main thing is that internships,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of internship that you are going to do will reflect and will solidify the future work setup. For example, see, litigation is not everyone cup of tea, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody can do it, but yes, if you are willing to go in that field, then work with those lawyers who are already working in that particular field.
Mm-hmm.
If corporate is one of your cup of tea, then yes, try doing corporate. If you're confused about the either of them, then have a mix up. Like, okay, I've worked in such and such corporate field also, and I've worked with litigation lawyer also. A lot of people, like just like me, for example, I wasn't sure about, okay, in which field, whether I should opt for litigation or whether I should go for a corporate. So I had a very good mix up. But yeah, in my sort of internship experience, I used to work with both, in terms of both judges of Delhi High Court, and I had an opportunity to work with the litigant lawyers also. I didn't have that much chance with the corporate firms,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that also shaped my opinion. So when you do this internship, you get a very good idea as to like how you wish to see yourself in next 10 years. That big
Right.
question, how do you wish to see yourself in 10 years? It's the
Right.
answer to that question.
Right. Exactly.
That is a very,
You can get like
yeah.
a source of inspiration that what your future would look like if you work in a law firm. Also, you
Hmm.
work with an independent practitioner and everything, so it actually shows you
Hmm.
that where you fit in more, so you decide to go in that field. Ma'am, how does one choose an internship? Like what is the, there are a lot of internships right now. Even a person, even a law student has got a lot of range that they can go and intern with. But the thing is,
Hmm.
how does one choose an internship and how does one apply for one?
See, right now, Muskan, the thing is, due to the current climate, a lot of law firms are coming towards the students, saying that, okay, we are a very good platform and this is the thing that we are offering, and we are a very good firm. It is up to the student to see
Mhm.
whether where we can find our interest in. For example, if you're right now also, I'm running a internship program, and what I do with the students is a very simple thing. I send them my description. I give them choice. Okay, go through my description. If you're comfortable in doing in my work and go through my guidelines, then only come to me.
Right.
Don't force a candidate to do something that they are not comfortable in doing it. In
Right.
sort of internships, I really feel that, I mean, I can't comment on other lawyers or law firms, but yes, in my law firm, I really like to keep the student and the lawyer at par. That, okay,
Mhm.
it has to be an open communication, there has to be an open gap. That,
Right.
okay, I am not comfortable in writing this subject, I am not comfortable in this subject, maybe we could work a midway through it. So
Mhm.
whenever I'm taking an intern or anything of that sort, they have the students have to make a choice. Either you have to read up on the law firm. It's very important. A
Mhm.
lot of law firms, I don't take interviews, but a lot of very reputed law firms tend to
Mhm.
take interviews of the candidates
Right.
also. So
Mhm.
it basically depends on you. How are you, like, in which, see, b- law of big law firms matters a lot. So like if you're going through for a, in top in India top 5 law firms you're working,
Mhm.
and you get internship with that, yes, that will help you. But
Right.
if you're not able to learn anything from internship, then it's pointless in my opinion.
Right.
Work with a law firm in which you can learn a lot.
Mhm.
If they're giving you something to draft, if they're giving anything to you research upon,
Mhm.
do it. It really doesn't matter, the name doesn't matter, end of the day the experience matters in my opinion.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, this is my 2 cents on this.
Right. So, whoever goes into an internship or something, like if you were talking about the extra mile, I was thinking that it's okay,
Hmm.
like you are sitting in your own space and you're reading judgments and you're reading, case laws that are famous, or your teacher has given you in the class, you're reading that. But the thing is,
Hmm.
it's very difficult to actually translate that to. So it's very difficult to translate that into practice. Like, how do
Hmm.
I start
Yeah.
analyzing it, because it's very easy to go online and read everything and grasp it, but the thing is, how do I interpret
Hmm.
it and how do I practice upon it, that I'm applying my own mind to it.
See, for this, first of all, these things should be taught to us in our law school in a very proper manner. I
Right.
really feel this. And this is the thing that I learned in my LLM.
Mhm.
I'm very sorry to say this, but I had to learn this in a hard way in my LLM.
Wow.
So, what happened was that we used to have these things called seminar. It
Mhm.
happens right after our lectures. It is conducted by our teachers, professors only.
Mhm.
And I think the best part about my LLM was that we had 17 students. So
Wow.
the attention span was so good at to everyone it was given.
Mhm.
And during those seminars, we were given, apart from our regular text, mind you, we were
Mhm.
provided certain articles, and they had, it ranges from
Your LLB in India and your LLM in UK. So how was the difference
yeah.
in the study, in the teachers, and everything?
Say in my law school, like the BLB part, it
Mhm.
was like a very rushed affair. I mean, everything was taught to us in a very fast manner, not haphazard, the fast manner it was, because even they had no choice. Our curriculum is so compact and it was so
Right.
comprised with everything. I
Mhm.
think now they've made certain changes in our law school in the curriculum, but in my time it was very jam packed. I mean, we were taught CRPC and CPC in one go only, which
Wow.
is like yeah, this was like such a in rush we had this thing. So
Mhm.
I mean, you can't even pay that much of attention. So for me, for example, I had to go back and read through these again and again in order to understand. We used
Mhm.
to have internals and back to back these university exams, so you had a very little window to actually study and comprehend these things, because
Right.
whatever you used to learn, you had to reproduce it in the form of the paper. So
Mhm.
that attention span was like really less, in my opinion, in those at that point of time.
Right.
At least this is what I experienced.
Mhm.
In my LLM, for example, things were like, our classes were like really, we had an hour or so, 2 hours lecture used to have. We had very less subject. Maybe it's because of the fact that it was a specialized course.
Mhm.
Masters, I did my masters in IPR.
Right.
So we had these only 4 lectures, and they were like really spread, and they used to be for 2 to 3 hours. But
Mhm.
I used to enjoy them so much. I used to love interacting with my professors and everyone,
Right.
because see, again, we had 70 students, and all of them were like had a mixed. They used to come from different countries.
Mhm.
So we used to talk, and we to understand the teaching pattern was very informal in nature.
Mhm.
And yeah, they taught us a lot of things. I mean, even in seminars also we used to discuss so much that, okay, if this happens in your country, what happens in your country, and how
Right.
do you analyze, how do you file applications, trademark applications. And it used to be like very vast, and we were taught a lot of things in that. like how to read and analyze this, how you're supposed to write. I remember the first assignment that I submitted in my LLM. My professor was like, "This is not the way you write," and I was like, "This is the way that I wrote in my LLB." Till
Right.
fifth year, I was writing this. A couple of 3 months ago, I was writing the same thing, but they were like, "No, you have to write like this. You have to research like this. This is the thing that we expect out of you." And I tell you what, in my semester exam, we had only 3 questions, and all of them, and we didn't have any choice. I think we didn't have any choice, and yeah, they only for 3 questions we had 100 marks. That's the
Wow.
level they're expecting, or and they don't even tell you to read, and they are like, okay, we don't only want you to refer the textbook, we want you to refer articles, we want you to refer any other thing. Make your answers such wholesome that we are forced to give you the marks.
Wow.
And the writing style, it has to be really powerful. You have to quote everything. You can't even just say x plus y is equal to z. You have to quote the credible sources as to why you're saying x plus y is equal to z.
Wow.
So yeah, I really learned a lot. But in the 5 year course, yes, things were rushed in a they were taught to us in a very fast manner. And I really wish they could have, stepped back and explained to us in a much proper way.
Right.
For example, income tax is something that I wish that should be taught to us in a very proper. Income tax, CPC, CRPC. These three are like very formal.
Right.
Exclude also income tax. I think CPC and CRPC is like very much applicable in our day-to-day lives.
Right.
Even in a litigation, wherever you go, they straight away ask you, "Acha, what is Rule 711, rejection of taint, for example?" So you'll have to cite everything. You have to write everything.
Right.
So yeah, it's a ongoing process, and you have to read and write and everything. So for me, I had to go back and read again. So it was
Ma'am,
like that.
it's a shame that you don't get to apply your mind in law school. You have to do internships. You have to do, things like these independent blogs that are coming around. They ask you to write articles,
Yeah.
and then you actually get to apply your own mind because you can't plagiarize anything. So that is what law school, I
Yeah.
think, is lacking right now. They're not letting you apply your own mind, think about things, put anything down. So, ma'am, was LLM always the plan that you had to do LLM after your LLB?
Yes, it was one of my plan, and after graduating, and this thing happened actually in my end of the fourth year only. I started applying for these universities and all. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I wasn't sure whether I should take up litigation field or join a law firm immediately after my graduation, because a lot of my colleagues started doing that. They were having talks with these big law firms, and everything was like getting set apart for them. So in my mind, I wanted to do more. I wanted to enhance my credentials, and this came out as a very good opportunity. I applied in almost 9 universities, and I got through all of them.
Wow.
And yeah, after that, I know it was a very pleasant surprise. And after that, yeah, it just worked out really well for me. After that, once I got through that, it was a very good experience. When you go through these LLM courses, and I'm glad I opted it for it, because
Right.
it literally opened my horizons. I got to know so much. And you're not only studying, you're also living abroad, you're living alone, you get to experience both professionally. I grew personally and professionally while studying LLM,
Right.
because they force you think outside the box. That's the biggest difference that I find between Indian structure as compared to the outside structure. They
Right.
force you to think. They won't be like, okay, don't do this, you have to stick to a pattern. They be like, why aren't you sticking to the pattern? Do something else now. Open that Pandora box, pull something out of the things a lot. So yeah, I'm genuinely, I was surprised with the reaction that I got, and the amount that I grew, the knowledge that I had. I used to spend hours discussing things with my professors, and they didn't mind at all. They were like, okay, good, nice, I'm really happy that you came here.
Right.
And yeah, I learned a lot. By the time I graduated, I had grown so much. I had grown so much. So when I came back here, I had knowledge about things like that. And now it's helping me a lot now when I'm applying those principles in my real life and handling cases. So yeah, that really helps me a lot.
Right. So, ma'am, being in abroad, why did you decide to come back? Did you not want to work there, or was that not an option for you?
No, I did. I had a training contract. I got through 2 training contracts. Because in UK, what happens? You get a job in the form of training contract. tracks. But I think that was sort of setting me setback for me for like 2 to 3 years. You have to work. There's certain conditions that you're supposed to follow.
Right.
And in my mind, like I can achieve that much while coming back here, and I can stay close to my family also.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah. So you have to weigh your options also. Like, okay, in how many years you can see certain goals if you set for your life, and you really wish to accomplish them to till a certain age. So in my mind, I was like, okay, let's just take a step back, go back to India. There are plethora of options over there. Let's just work our way on top of that. And if God willing, then okay, you might work there also in UK also. But
Right.
yeah, I enjoy working here also. I really, it's not. I don't feel bad about it that I left those jobs, but and I'm happy here. Yeah.
Right. So, you going through law school, how were when you're selecting a LLM ke liye college? So you decided University of
Yeah.
Manchester. So why was the program there better than any other program?
See, when you're choosing a LLM, the most you have to think of a lot of things. First of all, what is the curriculum? Curriculum is a very important thing. If you're able to adjust, because you're not only studying, you also will taking care of a lot of things in your life. You'll be living alone. You have to take care of expenses and whether you'll be able to cope up with the demand. If you're taking a curriculum, such say Cambridge or Queen's Mary, for example, where you're not able to handle the syllabus and all, so it will be difficult for you in that sense. For me, while deciding this, I got through Queen's Mary and other universities also, but I had to choose between the syllabus that was provided to me. I felt most comfortable with the syllabus and the structure timetable that was provided to me in in University of Manchester. I was really happy with that, and it gave me a freedom to also not only enjoy my LLM experience, but also go out with the friends. You don't have to study all the time, right?
Right, exactly.
24/7. Also feel like okay, let's just try this new place. Let's just explore also. So you have to do a lot of things. You can't only stick to one lane only. And this is the thing that was encouraged to us by our professors also. They used to say that, why are you only studying? You should go out. Oh, the weather is so lovely and all.
Right,
You just go out and have fun, enjoy and stuff. So
exactly.
yeah, there are a lot of things that you have to consider when you are choosing a university. But you also have to see what sort of a career placement cell they have. In my university, they have a very good career cell. So you can walk out and at any time, take an appointment, just sit with them, have a good word with them, and they'll explain to you everything. When you are
Yeah.
applying for these foreign jobs also, there's a very particular thing to note is that CV also matters. Our format style might not be suitable to some other country also, or the
Right.
prospective employees are looking for something else. You might be lacking in a CV, so they help you in that as well.
Wow.
So in my experience, I had to take a lot of things into consideration, and I used to spend a lot of time seeing that okay in this I used to check all the website. I attended the lectures. A lot of universities do have meetings right now during these time before students go to fly off to these universities. Feel free to bombard them with every question that you have. A lot of people asked a lot of questions. I can't even tell you what all questions they asked. You'll practically be laughing off. So a
Right.
lot of people ask these questions, meet them, talk to those professors. Sometimes they have law professors also who fly off and get to know them. It's a very good opportunity. And then even before your classes start, you have this orientation thing. So in that also it's a very informal sort of a discussion. Go up to them, ask them about the curriculum that, okay, I was just thinking, what sort of classes are you running? And will this class be good for me and stuff? They'll explain to you. They won't even say, no, no, no. They'll be like, okay, fine, let's just have a talk about it. Let's have a cup of tea and biscuits over this. So yeah, it's
Yeah, the
a
professors
great
outside are
process.
really cool, I think.
Yeah, you have to take a lot of consideration, but the main thing is that check the syllabus
Right.
whether you are able to cope up with the demands of the syllabus, because a lot of universities have this thing. You have to write a lot of assignments, then what sort of examination pattern that they are planning to take. Some have open book exam, some have closed, and some don't even have exams. Some courses don't even offer exams. So that's the best thing to do if you don't have any exams, but
Right,
then they
exactly.
are time barred in the sense you have to complete a lot of assignments.
Right.
So yeah,
There are credits
a
for
friend of
assignment.
mine yeah, they're credits for exam and they're very strict in checking that you have to maintain a particular standard. Like for example, a friend of mine, she was studying in Cardiff, and she had no exams. I was so jealous of her. I'm like, you don't have exams?
Right.
You was chilling so much. But
Mhm.
then I used to see her. She used to do so many of her assignments, and they were all time barred. You can't even have flexibility in that.
Wow.
So I was really happy. Yeah.
Mhm.
In my course, we had option of writing research paper or dissertation. I
Mhm.
opted for research paper. So in that also, I got one-on-one experience with my professors. In that
Mhm.
also, I learned a lot. They taught me a lot of things. When you're sitting with a professor and spend almost 2 hours, so you can't even discuss the topic for 2 hours. You'll be like, okay, let's just talk about something else. So teach me how to do this, teach me how to do that. So
Right.
yeah, it's a very you sort of build a connection and a networking that is very powerful. In that
Mhm.
in LLM, I build a very good connections and networking.
Right. Wow. So, ma'am, why did you decide to do IPR as your LLM specialty?
IPR for me is a very I think of intellectual property as a very umbrella sort of a way. You
Mhm.
have trademarks, you have patents, you have copyright. You won't find any sort of a diversification in any other subjects
Mhm.
like CPC. CPC, we all know what CPC is. But in IPR, you have a sort of a differentiation. In
Mhm.
trademarks, when you're talking, it's a completely different field. Copyright, again, different field. Patents, again, a different field. Then you
Right.
have design, you have geographical indication and whatnot. So in one sort of a line, you get so much of exposure.
Right.
And plus, in India, it's a very developing field right now. A lot
Mhm.
of things are happening, a lot of judgments are happening. And yeah, same as thing happens in abroad. I love reading about these trademark judgments and copyright judgments. It
Mhm.
sort of drew me. First time that I read about IPR was in my third year law school.
Right.
So again, it was taught to us in a very rush manner.
Mhm.
And then and I used to think, okay, maybe I should go back and start reading about it more.
Mhm.
So I did, and I was really intrigued and interested in knowing about more. Then I
Mhm.
started doing internship again.
Mhm.
When you're doing internship, think about the subject that you wish to work in. So
Mhm.
my internship was based with the IP lawyer only. So in
Mhm.
that also, it was a very research sort of a work. He
Mhm.
used to give me, okay, research on this topic. So I
Mhm.
used to do research. I used to read everything I had. I used to make notes. I used to attend the hearings. And then I used to give the feedback to my superiors. This is thing that is expected when you're doing a internship with a litigant lawyer,
Mhm.
that you attend research. Don't think about the other things. Just think about your task and your focus on that. So
Right.
while choosing, for me, IPR, it was like a very interesting field, and I still find it that, even though I don't get to work in IPR anymore.
Mhm.
But yeah, when your IPR is something that I can read right now. Also, I can just start researching. Go to
Mhm.
IPCAT. IPCAT is one of the famous blogs that we have. So I
Right.
used to read that judgments. Yeah, and even in my LLM also, it's just it just opened my mind. Like
Mhm.
there's so much of plethora of options available in IPR that you don't. I really wish in India we start developing this field more, because
Mhm.
a lot of lawyers and a lot of law firms don't take that into consideration.
Mhm.
Like right now also, I had a meeting with a lawyer, and he's like, oh, IPR, isn't that a very developing field and very new field?
Right.
IPR is there for like from past 30 years. You're
Right.
still calling it a very developing field.
Right.
You don't
Exactly.
say such stuff like that. But yes, we don't have that much of knowledge with when it comes to this field. And I
Right.
really hope we can work more on that.
Right. In India, I think it's a little lacking when it comes to innovations. I think
Yeah,
mostly foreign companies are here who have registered their patents in India. So
exactly.
it's lacking
Yeah.
a lot that Indians do. We do not innovate. We tend to take it from somewhere else or something. So
Yeah, but what happening right now is, right now, since we are in a startup stage, a lot
right,
of startups
right,
are rising. Now they're
right,
becoming aware about these their IPR rights. A lot of lawyers are now opening up their eyes. Okay, IPR is a very important field. Let me just focus on that.
right.
So yeah, but most of them don't lack a bit of knowledge when it comes to IPR, and they just say, okay, IPR, I'm doing IPR, but they need to understand the integrity. IPR is a very technical subject,
Right.
and to able to understand, it's a very important thing. You have to grasp the basic levels. You can't just talk from a outer perspective that, okay, trademark is this. You have to understand what trademark is. If I'm holding this pen, there has to be a Uniball is a brand. You have to say, okay, this is in good faith. What happens behind the brand is a different thing. You are protecting the origin of a
Mm-hmm.
brand. That what IPR is, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to provide that, then you've mastered IPR then, in my perspective. So yeah, it's a very technical and an ongoing subject. I really wish people become more aware about that.
Right, exactly, ma'am. Ma'am, with IPR, I think it is both theoretical, which includes a lot of creativity, but also a very practical, very, it requires a
Yeah.
lot of steps and very practical like that. So it is a great combination when you're studying about it, then also applying it.
Hmm.
So it's a great combination. It's
Yeah.
a very exciting field.
You have to, practicality is something that I had to learn a lot. So when I came back here, I had an opportunity to, first I started as a litigation lawyer. So
Mm-hmm.
I worked with the Delhi Government Standing Council, and
Mm-hmm.
after that, in my mind, I wanted to explore more, and I thought, okay, let me just apply to this IP firm, and I got through that. But then you learn in a very hard way what sort of practicality is expected out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to file this application. I learned the entire process, but however, there are places where you don't fit. There are places where you are there to learn. You can't enjoy in every places. You know what they say? You have to sit on 1,000 chairs in order to find your own chair. I
Wow.
found my chair. This is very comfortable chair for me.
Right, right. Ma'am,
So yeah, with IPR, yeah. For IPR, I really feel that you have to learn the practical aspect of it. How do you file application? A lot of people can write thesis over trademark, but if you can't tell me how you filed the application, then it sort of pushes back a bit. It's not helpful in my opinion.
right.
Practical and theoretical is something that has to go together in this field. That's the reason why this field is very technical in nature.
Right, exactly. So, ma'am, actually, I also wanted to congratulate on you on founding your own law firm, which is a pretty great feat, I
Yeah.
think, for anybody. So, ma'am, how does
Thank you.
one go from, working under somebody and then working independently and then forming their own
Yeah.
law firm? So, how was your process in doing all this?
See, for me, after when I worked in IP firm, I just realized that okay, I'm not. It didn't work out well for me. Let's just put it in a very respective way, and very respectfully, I have to submit this. So yeah, in my mind, I just thought, okay, if this is not working out, then what other options can we do?
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I started applying for other jobs also, other government jobs also,
Mm-hmm.
like legal counsel and present position that I'm holding.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, again by God's grace, I got through both North MCD as well as South MCD.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got through that, in my mind, I was like, now I will start my own place. I will run things as per my conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's not even about conditions. It's just that you get to call your own shots. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
running your own law firm does have its own pros and cons. I have to compete in the market with the bigger fishes. I'm a very nano fish right now. I'll be in a very open thing I'm admitting on this record. And you have bigger and larger fishes,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to convince the prospective client that okay, you are worth investing in me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a very humbling experience as well as a learning experience for me. I get to decide a lot of things, and I get to work in my own directions. I
Mm-hmm.
can say, okay, this is a way, and this is the path that I want to take. I'm not answerable to anybody. The
Mm-hmm.
most best part about working on your own and being your own boss is that you're not answerable to anybody.
Right.
But the down part is that you have a lot of onus, and you also have a lot of things to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Being a first gen lawyer, there's a lot of pressure on you to prove yourself in the market. They're saying that okay, I'm the one who is worth investing.
Mm-hmm.
Why should a prospective client come to me and not to some other person who's already established on running their own law firm? So
Mm-hmm.
that conviction power, that conviction rate should is supposed to be a very important thing. And this is the thing that I'm learning right now. I mean, you have to learn in this process. You learn a lot of things. You have to handle your social media. You have to handle your internships. Everything is done for you. I have to handle everything right now. So
Right.
when you're working somewhere else, you don't have to take care of these things. All you have to make is just research, make your
Mm-hmm.
counter affidavits or replies, and you're just good to go. You just wrap up. Okay, now बज गए घर चलते हैं. It's sort of a situation like that. But
Right.
right now, okay, I have to take care of 100 other things, but I enjoy doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not answerable to anybody. I'm my own boss. I'm making my own paychecks, and best part, I'm signing those paychecks. So I'm really happy in doing that. So
Right.
yes, it's a very humbling and learning experience. And yeah, I'm really lucky to have certain opportunities that have come in my way.
Right. So some people are actually more into not working under other people. They actually rise when they are working for themselves. Whenever
Yeah, you can say that.
So whenever I think, ma'am, law firm, making your own law firm, that experience is pretty amazing. So I think, so ma'am, let's talk about the basic. You said that internships are really important. So when you
Hmm.
went into your internships, what were you looking for in the internships, and um, what did you try to achieve as an intern when you were there in an internship?
The first internship that I did was, I think, and the most important internship that I have done, like irrespective of anything, was under judges. When you're working under judges of Delhi High Court, especially at that level of stature, it's very important. I went there with an open mind. Like whatever they can throw at me, I'll learn. I mean, I'm there to learn. I'm there to observe whatever they are about to teach me.
Mhm.
And we used to work till 8:30. It was very normal for me. And we had to research. We have to prepare the cases for the next day. Mind you, in Delhi High Court, you do have a very strong backlog of cases. They
Right.
run up to like 50 cases. So I had to go through along with my researchers, the other people who are working with them, with the judges. All of us used to sit down. We used to get these very fat files, and we had to go through all the orders. After going through those orders, the judge used to call us, and then you say, okay, explain me this case. How
Wow.
are you able to remember 25 cases? I mean, at that point of time, I used to like, one day I had a breakdown also. I'm like, I can't cope up with this. I have to
Wow.
do this, but I'm not able to grasp the concept.
Mhm.
But then slowly, it takes time. It takes time to inculcate this habit. It takes time to read these things. Again, this is the thing that should be taught to us in a law school. This is the
Mhm.
thing that I was taught to me in my law school. Reading, fast reading, and writing everything in a very short and crisp manner is something that's taught to us in my first year also. At
Right.
least that was taught to me in my first year also.
Mhm.
So whenever you're interning, have an open mind.
Mhm.
Have an open, don't keep sort of expectations that okay, whether it's paid or unpaid. I know there's a debate going on whether you should pay your interns or not. I'm aware about it. LinkedIn is full of these
Indeed,
posts,
right.
and LinkedIn has a lot of opinionated people, and I completely respect that. But if you're not able to learn,
Mhm.
then again it defeats the purpose.
Right.
So when my strong advice to all the interns out there and people who are looking for internship,
Mhm.
take whatever it's been taught to you. Don't think about whether it's paid or unpaid. That won't defeat. You'll start earning once you're out from the law school. By any means you will earn, trust me on that part. But
Mhm.
if you're not able to inculcate those habits, if you're not able to work on your drafting skills, if I'm giving an intern to draft a sale deed, for example,
Mhm.
and you're not able to do it, it defeats the purpose. It
Right.
completely defeats the purpose, because in your internship, if something is taught to you and you'll be like, no, I'm not doing this because I can't do this. I had an intern who said to me, I asked him to write a case comment. It was a very small case comment to write. I was like, ma'am, this is the end of my analyzing capacity and I can't do this more than that. He literally said this to me, and I'm running a virtual, so it was more like on emails he said this to me.
Mhm.
In my mind, I was like, okay, fine. If the student has reached his end of the capacity, then we are no one to
Mhm.
force him or her on this. So when you're doing your internship, please remember that learn from it, have an open mind, understand what is being taught to you. If we are giving any sort of a review, if I'm saying, okay, you should have added this judgment, I'm taking my time out to read the judgments, and I'm expecting you to understand them. If you're
Mhm.
not able to understand those judgments, then come to me, ask me again.
Mhm.
And I think all lawyers will agree to this fact. If an intern is getting stuck somewhere, they will help you out. They
Right.
will ask them, yeah, sir, please explain me what sale deed is. Please explain me what contract of service is. They will
Mhm.
happily teach you. So
Right.
you have to have a very open mind when you're working under this.
Mhm.
Because when I was doing my internship under these judges of High Court, they used to tell us the same thing. The thing that I'm telling you right now. The first thing the judge told me was like, keep an open mind. You will work late, but read and understand these files. Because if you're not able to understand these files, then you are no use to me.
Right. Right.
This was the actual words that were said to me. I'm
Wow.
like, yes, sir. And I used to sit in his chambers when he was conducting his hearing, and I used to read a lot. I should, irrespective of the fact that whether it will help me or not. I used to read from his. He was like, okay, my library is here. Take whatever book you want, read and understand. If you're stuck somewhere, come to me.
Wow.
And I was stuck. There are a couple of places where I was stuck, and I went to the judge, honorable judge, and I was like, sir, if you have 2 minutes, could you please explain me? They were like, yeah, sit down. And he
Wow.
explained it to me. It was so simple in that sense. And then luckily also I had the researchers that were working under the judges. They were also very friendly and very helpful. So when you're working in a, like suppose you're working in a law firm, so you have associates also under whom these things happen. Ask them, connect with them, get to know them, and have an open perspective.
Right.
Don't have pre-expectations. That's the best thing that I can say.
Right. Wow, ma'am. So, your internships under the judges and all, it's which year did you do these internships in, and like, was it how was it effective in your journey right now as a litigator?
I did my internship. I think, man, it's been so long. So my internships were in second and third year, I believe. Second, third, or fourth year. It was in these ranges only. So yeah, third and fourth, I think. Third and fourth, confirmed answer. I think it's that only.
Right.
So yeah, you have to choose internships to the best of your understanding. You can't just be a first year student and just walk off being in a judge's
Right.
uh, chamber. You can't work like that because there are a lot of things you won't be able to understand, and it will defeat the purpose again. Just for the name in your CV won't be suffice. If I am a first year student and I'm working with, say, a very good IP law firm, and I'm not able to understand a single word in that,
Right.
it will defeat a purpose. Start from your level, research from your level as to what I can apply my mind into it. There has to be a practicality. You have to be methodical in your way. You can't just say that, okay, I'll just work in this very big law firm. I get the certificate in my CV and it will help me get a lot of jobs. If you're not able to understand, then what's the point?
Right.
So when you're focusing on that, when I chose this internship, when I got through the internship, I was mentally ready also to absorb these knowledge. So for example, we used to handle motor vehicle cases also. The best part, I had already read about them. I already studied these subjects. So when I went through, I was able to understand, okay, they are talking about this section, they are talking about this section. So I was able to understand, and the judge will, and the people whom you are working under, they also get very happy that, okay, you don't have to explain them everything. If you're sitting down and explaining ABCD of everything, then it won't be, it'll be like you're coddling someone. So just take a moment, take a breather, understand where your capability lies.
Right.
Don't go for a brand name. Work with the people with whom you are comfortable working in. So I was really happy that with my mindset, I went to those internships, be it judge or a litigant lawyer. You have to be prepared for everything. Don't rush in your internship and say that, okay, I'll apply in this law firm, I'll get the certificate and I'll be off. You have to have a very methodical and to plan your way out. If you really wish to proceed ahead, you have to plan out.
Right. So obviously, quality matters over quantity. Even if you do it in your third, fourth
True.
year, fifth year, it doesn't matter. You just have to be better at whatever you're doing and learn better. Ma'am, right now
So
online
for
intern.
us, yeah.
So,
Please, please, please.
so ma'am, the online right now online internships are going on. In online internships, it's very unfair what these some of the organizations are doing to the students. They are giving them articles to write, and they are not even checking the facts that what the student has written is right or not, and they just post it on their website, not even giving any feedback as to the
Yeah.
structure is good or not, or anything. So they waste from 1 month to 3 months of a law students this thing, and they because it looks good on the CV that you've done a lot of online internships during the lockdown period. So I've even gone through this phase myself that I was going a lot into online internships, but I was every single
Oh,
time there was no feedback given, and those were all useless. I have not even put them on my CV now. It was so useless.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Muskan. You went through that. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Ma'am,
You
it's
shouldn't have
really
gone through that.
ma'am, it's really
It's
difficult to
really
get.
heartbreaking.
It is, ma'am. It
It's
is.
really
Actually,
heartbreaking.
you were trying to, even in the lockdown period, you just want to work harder and you want to build your CV better so that you know okay, you did something in the lockdown period and utilize your time. But it turns out that you get with people like this. They even I was talking to a sir yesterday, and he was telling me that you know what, Muskan, they have asked me to, the first task of the day was that you have to yeah, like the videos on his YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel. So that was the first task from the person. So, ma'am, it was highly
I'm
surprising.
genuinely baffled over this right now. I'm genuinely surprised over this
Right. And he's
that
in
this is
AOR.
happening. But I'm really sorry to hear this. I'm really sorry to hear this. This shouldn't have happened. The quality is decreasing, in my opinion. So
Right.
right now, even in my internship, I can't talk about others, but what I do is that students send me whatever. My thought process is that you have to review and give a proper feedback.
Mhm.
So I take my own time. It might take me 3-4 hours. I might have to lose cut out on my sleep, but I make it a point. Right now, ever since I've started this internship, my Sundays have gone. They've gone to drain. I haven't had a single Sunday where I've just enjoyed it and I've watched a movie or read a book.
Mhm.
Because most of the time I am reading these articles, be it both for this or locutor, for example, where I had the editorial team. But I read these articles, I give them a very proper feedback, and then I tell them, okay, this is the way that you are supposed to write. This is the way that is expected out of you. This is the way, point the faults, point the places. If you're not getting a proper feedback, then okay, the student also loses his edge, and they'll be like, okay, this is just a free fun thing, and it won't help you a lot. Just like the way you went through. With
Mhm.
my internships, I don't make it a point to motivate the student more. I do have tie-ups with certain publications. I've worked really hard in maintaining those relationships, and I do send those articles, and they get published.
Wow.
With that internship, I am providing the due credit, that which is very important. I really feel that credit should be provided to each and every one.
Exactly.
You're working your hard work. I am putting my brains in it. You are applying your mind and typing your way through it. So
Mhm.
it's very important that due credit is to be provided. But if this thing is happening, this is the first time I heard about it, and I'm really sorry that people are going through this. But yeah, I mean, getting YouTube, okay. I mean, this is it is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, in my opinion, feedback should be given, feedback should be provided, because the student also is putting a lot of effort.
Right.
So I asked one of my interns to write, and it motivates them so much that I extended the internship to a couple of months. Also 2 months is the maximum that I've gone.
Right.
And I asked one of my interns to write on reservation on promotions. She wrote, Muskan, I swear, she wrote on 17 pages research paper on that, and
Wow.
she gave it to me in 4 days. And it was such a well written article, such a well written research paper. She cited everything,
Hmm.
be it all the judgments, be it all the structure, and the end result is so much that I am giving you a guarantee the person who steps out of my internship, they will have a very good experience working elsewhere, because they know what is expected out of them, they know what sort of judgments are required by them. So you have to, lawyers have to put some efforts, and it should be both ways. And I'm really genuinely surprised that this is happening right now. People, a lot of people write these things about this on LinkedIn. I read through them. You can't even like or comment on these things, but I do read them. But yeah, this is the thing that which you've told me. It's very surprising. I'm really surprised this is happening right now.
Mhm. So, ma'am, I guess anybody who's watching right now, the viewers, if they want to apply for the internship, what can they do?
Send me an email. Just tell me what you wish to, if you want to intern with me. Because the thing is that I'm not boasting myself about it, but yeah, the internships have become so popular and coveted right now that I am booked till I'm not booked. It's just that I've got students till November.
Wow.
This is what happening right now.
Right.
And I am so genuinely grateful over it that students have liked the work, and students have appreciated that, okay, we are what we are doing. I'm a sole person who's running right now, and I'm the one who's investing a lot of time into it.
Mhm.
So, and we have a couple of law universities who have reached out to us saying that, okay, let's have a university tie-up. We'll send you our students, and you can work with us. Yes, this is the thing that has happened, and
The
I'm so elated over this. I'm so elated over this fact. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in working on intern, I mean, I'll encourage you to reach out to me in that sense. Drop an email with your writing sample.
Mhm.
I can understand a person through a writing sample. I think any lawyer and any person can understand you with your writing sample. If your writing sample is good, then yes, you will get through. And yeah, I mean, my criteria is very simple and straightforward in that sense. Your writing sample will speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Make your writing sample so strong, so good that the other person is forced to take you on board.
Right.
So for me, that's a very simple criteria.
Right. That is, I think, why you don't take interviews, because what actually depends, the internship, yes or no, depends on the writing sample itself.
In interviews, I really find that people tend to say the words that you are required to say. They become parrots, in my opinion. And
Right.
they genuinely become parrots. They only say those things. Okay, why do you wish to apply in this law firm? Because I think it's a very good law firm. You have very good services. You have this. You have that.
An
When you
esteemed
are
organization.
reading yeah, they only say the words that it is expected out of you. When you're writing something, when you're explaining anything, for example, it will tell you a lot. How do you research? What's your writing style? Grammatical errors, are you making or not? I'm a grammar Nazi. I am a convent student, so I am a grammar Nazi since my kindergarten. So yeah, a lot of factors are there in when you're doing such thing. So for me, I can understand a person by their writing sample more than the interview. It just genuinely baffles me when people tend to repeat only those particular lines that are expected of them. You can repeat the same lines to some other person also, and he'll also take you on board. Okay, you're doing so well. But your writing sample is a unique thing. It will set you apart from the other candidates, in my opinion.
Right. Great, ma'am. So, ma'am, the since we're reaching the end of the show, what do you think you do, except if you were not a lawyer, what would you do?
Probably I'll be working in a publishing field. Probably I'll be a book editor, working in a very mean one editor perhaps. But yeah, I really enjoy reading a lot. Seriously, I really enjoy reading a lot and exploring new places. I really would have gone into journalism or publishing field, perhaps become this air travel blogger or a blogger, perhaps traveling to the world, exploring new places. I love solo traveling also. Even when I was in UK, I used to take a lot of solo trips, roam
Right.
around, get to know places, check out new restaurants. I'm a foodie also,
Right.
so I'd like to check out a lot of places on my own. But
Mhm.
yeah, I really would have done these things. It's a very interesting thing to do. But yes, right now I'm really happy with the place I am.
Great. Great. So, ma'am, what can we see you doing in the future? What lies ahead for you?
It's yet to come. It's really yet to come. And right now, see, due to the COVID time, it really threw, I think, everyone off.
Right.
Whatever plans that all of us had, it threw everyone off. And now we have to take a step back, I think, couple of step backs, and then try to rebuild and replan ahead. Whatever plans that I had, my plan is simple. I have to push forward. I have to manage not only my litigation career, but also I have to manage my growth of the firm as well. So in my mind right now, there are two things: not only work personally and professionally, but also grow this place. And hopefully, I'm praying to the Lord that this might happen soon.
Right, exactly. So thank you so much, ma'am, for being on the show. It was really a pleasure having you. And I messaged you on LinkedIn. It was so easy to connect to you and talk to you throughout the this thing. So thank you so much, and thank you everybody for watching. And please subscribe to the channel, and please do leave comments if you like the video.
Thank you so much, Muskan, for having me.
Thank you.
Lovely talking to you.
Thank you.